President Trump reportedly cleaning house. CBS News is reporting a new mandate, a top-to-bottom review of the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. As reports are also coming in, CNN and other media now pushing back against that New York Times story that intelligence officials had warned House lawmakers Russia is interfering again to re-elect President Trump. With me now, Republican Tom McClintock of House Judiciary. Great to see you, sir. Thanks for joining us.
It was my pleasure, Liz.
Your take on this story?
Well, first of all, the intelligence community, I think, was politicized heavily during the Obama administration. I mean, you saw some of the most vicious partisans like Clapper and Brennan, who were at the heart of the whole Russian collusion hoax. And the president is absolutely right. He's got to do a complete house cleaning, not only there, but at the Department of Justice. And to this idiotic notion that somehow the intelligence community or the Department of Justice are independent of the executive branch, that is constitutional nonsense. The presidency is established with these words: the executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America. It doesn't say anything about self-important lieutenant colonels at the NSC, doesn't say anything about attorneys general. The president exercises all executive authority, and that's critically important, because if he's not exercising it, that means that the agencies that we give the most terrifying powers available to the government, to the intelligence and justice communities, the power to ruin people's lives, is completely unchecked by the national electorate, and that's a very dangerous situation. You know,
CNN's Jake Tapper tweeting that this New York Times story, it looks like quoted sources could be overstating the claim. Maybe it's just Russian meddling again, you know, just the same story we've heard. You know, this New York Times story had no detail from supposed intelligence assessments, no reliable human intelligence sources, no signal intelligence from anyone close to Russian leaders like Vladimir Putin, no details even on which Russian government unit or contractor is supposedly doing the meddling. And now Bernie Sanders, Washington Post is reporting, Bernie Sanders has been briefed by intelligence officials that Russia is trying to get him elected. Okay, I want to move to these sound bites. So you mentioned John Brennan. Let's listen to his take. Watch.
Carry out those responsibilities that you swore an oath to do. Because they have that very solemn responsibility, whether you're intelligence or in a diplomat or in law enforcement. You need to carry out your responsibilities with the greatest integrity and honesty and let the chips fall where they may. Now, a lot of these individuals, I'm sure, are being intimidated and now are going to be pulling some punches because they don't want to be shown the door. It's one thing for the senior professionals to be axed, but is the White House going to start going down further now and trying to remove intelligence professionals who are just trying to do their job but are going to face the wrath of a very vindictive Donald Trump? Okay,
so John Brennan effectively saying intelligence officials stay in your jobs to push back against the president. Here's the media going with the Russian narrative again. Watch.
This is one of those shocking news days, if you retain the capacity to be shocked.
The Russians are coming.
Yes, they are.
And they're coming again for their main man, Donald J. Trump.
The Russians are up to it again. The president's up to suppressing the information again.
I think, frankly, the president welcomes it. He wants it.
It would be bad enough to learn that the Russians are back at it helping Trump. It's much worse that Trump appears to be trying to cover that up.
What do you mean, be back? They never left.
The president is a Russian operative.
Okay, again, push back against that Times story. Now it's sort of falling apart. Your take on that, and what has the Trump administration enacted against Russia?
First of all, I don't believe that Russia has any interest in electing Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders or anybody else. The sole objective of the Russian government is to sow controversy, to roil the political waters, to undermine public confidence in our institutions and our political process. They will stop at nothing to feed disinformation that accomplishes that goal. And unfortunately, they have a number of what the Soviets used to call useful idiots in this country who are willing to take that information and amplify it. Don't forget, the whole Russian collusion hoax started with the Steele dossier, which relied upon disinformation coming out of Russia. If it is roiling the political waters and coming from Russia, that's their objective, and we ought to treat it accordingly.
Yeah, they play the long game. Congressman, great to see you. Come back soon.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Same here. Coming up, the Trump administration has been accused by